healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Okay,
welcome to Lady Journey, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to Lady Journey. Very excited about our guest today.
Yes. First, let me introduce my co-host. She is a member of Orange Theory. She's an Orange theorist.
I'm in the cult.
She is a mom. She is a blonde. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Talamash.
Thank you for having me on my own show. Where am I? And I'd like to introduce my co-host, bride-to-be, Bridezilla.
Yes.
No buying, Katie Hannigan. Katie's on a no buy year, but keeps buying stuff.
Yes. That's my, but you know, that's everything about me. I'm a mess of contradictions. And let us introduce our wonderful guest, Natasha Vaynblat, writer, comedian,
actress,
clothes wearer.
Yes.
And
lady.
Yes. All of it. You guys nailed it. I'm honored to be here.
So I'm loving, you've been doing really fun content lately. I'm loving the stuff you're doing. And your husband.
I know.
You're
he's a little
featuring
star.
your husband for the first time with your Childfree cocktail series.
Is that hard to launch your husband?
Yeah, it was. Well, it's hard because he is so, like, he doesn't use social media, but will like check, to see how the video is doing. And so I see like through a baby's eyes what this process is like in a way that I'm like, he's like very attentive to like how the numbers are doing. And if people are commenting in a way that I'm like, you're going to have to let this go immediately.
You just post and go, babe.
You just post and then you never come back.
Oh, never.
You just
never. And you never read the comments. You never read a single comment.
The comments. Yeah.
Now, you guys are doing a cocktail series.
We are. He's a very good chef and mixologist, I guess.
Oh,
is what it's called.
interesting.
And so we were like, oh, well, I mean, you got to feed the social media machine.
Oh, you got to put something out there.
It's a hungry beast.
It's a hungry beast and it needs to be fed. So we were like, oh, this could be fun to do because we already like have friends over all the time and he makes cocktails and everyone was like, this is so good.
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh, we should just kind of
Is that his job?
That.
Chefing?
No, not at all. It is
a
passion. Private passion.
I love a private passion.
Yeah.
I love it. I know.
What if we just talked about your husband the whole time?
He would love it.
Tell us more. Tell us more. Well, it's really cute when you know someone for a long time, as I've known you for at least 10 years, maybe even longer, actually.
I would say probably longer at this point.
And then I had never met your husband. I don't think I've ever seen you. And then I see you guys together and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Wait, there's something there.
Yes. So you guys should talk.
Yeah.
You guys set you up. I should set you up with your husband. He's the perfect guy for you.
It's true. I'm like, and I feel like we've known each other even longer and you might have also never met him as well. Or maybe
I met
just
him
a few
once
times.
at a writing session. We had bagels at your place.
Oh.
I think I had 4, like I had a shit ton. I just remember being like, that was insane. And then I met him there and he was very lovely. And your dog. You had a dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The time you came over and ate 4 bagels. Tasha's like, oh, I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
It was all of them. We didn't have any.
So Natasha, you're in like a new era of your life now because you were working a job and then you've moved into kind of the fun employed, the freelance. Tell us about your new horizon. I always feel like when I leave a job or like the best when I have a project end, I'm like, like I am blasting off into new universes.
Yes.
It's so nice, but also I think like a readjustment because when you go from a day job where it's like
then
my
that was
schedule
an intense one, right?
And an intense one. Yeah.
What was the Natasha was a writer for The Tonight Show.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's the schedule like for that show?
So it really felt like you were just working for 12 hours.
Wow.
I mean, we weren't technically on the clock for 12 hours, but because it's a show, I mean, all of these late night shows, it's like as soon as you're wrapped, you then have to prepare for the next day. Mm-hmm. And at the Tonight Show, the writers also produce their bits if they make it on air. So at other shows where if you wrote a bit, but then you hand it off, and so then it's done and you can like work on other material. If your thing makes it to air, you're then also looking at the edit at the end of it and also like producing as far as like figuring out the props and working with every department.
That is a lot.
So I guess this is a long-winded way of saying it would start in the morning. You would have to submit pitches the first thing in the morning, but really to get ahead of it, you would start writing those pitches at night.
Wow. So you don't even get you come home and get to relax and watch a White Lotus. You have to automatically start reading news articles.
I mean, it depends on the writer, but for me, it was like I would start the night before to submit for the morning, and then you have your full day, and then once that day is done, you're like, I guess I start for
stressful to be in that intense type of schedule.
Yeah.
It was and for 2 years. And then I was at Lily Singh prior for a few other years, or maybe just 1 year. I don't know. They all bleed together.
I loved her. Yeah. I loved her show.
I did too. But it was a totally because it was also remote. It was like a totally different environment.
Oh yeah. Forgot. You forget about COVID sometimes.
I know. Right.
What was it? Yeah. So now that you have like all this free time, are you feeling like a surge of creative energy? Are you kind of just resting? What's going on?
So I've been now like in this freelance fun employment life for the last year.
Okay.
So it was so at first I was like, I'm kind of just not going to do anything, and I'm going to let my brain like just not hibernate, but like just
live a life.
Yes. And like reset and not feel like I immediately have to launch into something.
Right. Yeah. You need that downtime.
You need stuff.
Yes. A fallow period.
Observation.
Yeah.
I forget who said it, but there's like some quote that was like, you need to find time for yourself to be bored, because once you give yourself time to be bored, whatever creative thing you want to work on will just kind of like bubble to the surface.
Ooh, brilliant.
Yeah. So I forget. It was like some writer gave this advice where it's like, if you have the freedom to like take 3 months after, like an intense work period, just be bored, and then naturally like the thing will come up.
Wow. 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, I don't think it took a full 3 months, but like a month into just truly hanging out, not doing anything. Then I started writing this new hour that I just feel like has kind of just like finally gotten to the point where I really like what it is. And so I spent like this last year doing that.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And have you taped it yet?
I have, but so now I've taped it, but now we wait till I don't feel like this is tedious, but it's like now we're shopping it around.
Of course.
And then
that's what you do.
Yeah.
People out there don't know.
Okay.
You shop it around. No, they love it. They love it.
Shop it around.
That's a journey.
Yeah.
You're heading into the summer months. Edinburgh is on, I don't know if I said that right, on the horizon.
Yeah.
That's an option.
I don't want to go just yet.
Okay.
And I think it's because the show feels too done in a way that I'm like, I don't think Edinburgh feels right for that. But if I had like another thing that was new.
If you were working on something for it. Yeah, because it is a good workout.
Have you guys ever been?
I won't do it.
Said the woman recommending it. Well, you got Orange Theory to go.
Well, it sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of romanticizing about it. But the few people that I've talked about it, which is the camp that I would be in without a team behind me, it is a dredge.
It seems brutal.
It is work and it's demoralizing, and you don't get the time slots, and a lot of people it gets reviewed really early on, so it feels unfair. You're responsible for people coming to the shows, and a lot of times you're just doing it for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
I've heard it's tough.
I've heard some people come back from it that you're like, and then there's people that feels like they have a team behind them, and then they are revered because there's a little bit of PR going.
Yeah, if you have the buzz going in.
I feel like maybe we'll have to do this later in the podcast, but I feel like the answer to like the later question was like, what is the journey you're on? I'm like, this speaks exactly to like what I feel like currently in the journey, which is like, I'm not doing stuff because people are like, this is the thing you're supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
I'm so honestly like, I feel like I did all the right stuff to finally get to like write for the Tonight Show. It felt like such a clear right trajectory.
Yes. Yeah.
And now that it's done, and I think also just being older, I am feeling this like feeling in my gut that I trust way more than I ever have, which is like, just because we have been told that it's like, oh, and the next thing you do is
the
Edinburgh
thing to do. Yeah.
It's like, no.
That's also
Why? And these things become outdated too, especially now in the days of making your own content.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I want to hear more about this journey.
Yeah.
It's like kind of getting a better relationship with your intuition. Is this what is
think
going
so.
on?
I
or
mean,
just
really,
career wise?
I think the big decision is ultimately like for this like hour, this called Childless Freak that I've been working on,
Yes.
was about grappling with, do I have kids? Do I not have kids? I was so ambivalent and so torn for the longest time. And then the truth of it was I was just scared to not have kids because it felt like the thing I wasn't allowed or supposed to do.
Right.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah.
a fear of closing a door on yourself.
Yes.
And I think there's more of that fear than the having, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do
Where
entirely.
like you might get the same kind of feeling from something else. And I think even as an artist, like I think about that with Stevie Nicks. She talks about that. She's a childless freak.
Trademark. I'll send her a bill.
She's like, my art is my child. You get the outcome, or it's like you nurture that and then you get the outcome of, and it fulfills you. And I totally understand that feeling as well.
And for me, it was more finally like doing something that I felt like I wasn't supposed to do. And once this big choice was made, now I feel like I've opened the door to being like, oh, I think just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean I need to do it, nor do I need to feel compelled.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, probably when you listen to your own intuition, you're tapping into your instincts in a way that will likely be more successful than
Or at
just
least just more
following.
enjoyable,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
I feel like we've done this enough where it's like, oh, and it feels like, oh, I did the thing that's going to launch me, and then it doesn't launch you. And you're like, well, I feel bad that I wasted all this time where I could have been doing something else I really wanted to do.
Right.
That I didn't like pursue because I was told that I needed to be writing 600 packets or whatever. you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Or everyone's like, and we're in this category, but like do a podcast. And you're like, a podcast isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
It's really
It
not.
is for us, though.
But think
Year
of,
4.
we were thinking
Yeah,
about
you're
this with
committed.
Phil Hanley's never had a podcast and he's doing really well for himself. So it's not an avenue that's up for anybody.
Right, right.
I do. He had the cellar, but it was years ago. Yeah.
Keeping Joe. Yeah, that's right.
Before
But not
it was the
to-
norm.
to the level of the peers that have the huge podcasts.
Well,
Totally.
people love to give advice, which
Okay.
is
And I'm
which
one
is
of them.
Just,
I am stopping.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore.
I don't do it.
I don't.
I don't do it because
You've caused too much chaos with your advice.
Yes,
I
run
just
into the
moved to
street.
LA.
Run, yeah,
I'm like, move to
move
LA.
to LA, buy a home. Don't insure it. But yeah,
The money in the mattress.
it's it's flammable. It's the type of thing in advice or like in career with other women. We're always kind of searching for like someone to tell me, because
Yes.
it takes the anxiety off of having to make any type of decision for yourself. And then it just kind of it becomes like a crutch of Googling stuff when it's like, why don't I just sit alone with my thoughts and think about what I really want to do next?
Yeah.
And that's probably the best thing for me. And I think like, you know, it's not only with career, like I said, but it could be like with kids. Oh my God, like, I don't know, should I have kids or not? Should I have kids or not? Should I get married or not? Should I get married or not?
Yeah.
And then there's such an industry that thrives off of like, this is what you should do.
Yes.
This is how you know when you're ready to get married. The 5 tips.
Oh my
A listicle.
God.
And you're like,
Where to find a man.
yeah. And I'm like, but I'm still Googling. I'm still Googling.
As you're walking down the aisle.
yeah.
Katie's swiping.
Yes. Now, you're a big thrifter. Tell us about
Huge.
You're
Are you on the online thrift or are you in the brick and mortar? And
Well,
Katie taught
I'm
me
in
that term.
recovery, actually. I'm in recovery. So I haven't been
Oh.
thrifting. So now I've leveled up.
So what's the
Okay.
recovery?
The recovery is I'm not. So I used to, like, for example, I had an hour in between this recording and then I had a haircut. So in
Gotcha.
between, normally what I would do is I would find the local, like, Buffalo Exchange or whatever in the area.
Yeah, good one around the corner.
I know there is.
Yeah.
I know
Love Day-
because
Love Day
I've
31.
been to this area.
Yeah.
And it's kind of where I've gotten some of the best stuff.
That's hilarious. You're like, I know every Buffalo Exchange in the
I
city.
kind of, I mean, I actually do.
It's a safe space.
Yeah.
It's a safe space.
And a great place to kill an hour and like find some treasure. Like,
And they
I feel like
always
this
have
I got.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go into any Buffalo Exchange and find something fabulous.
Yes.
Yes.
But being unemployed for a year, I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Because it's expensive still.
Yeah.
Here, it's even Goodwill in the city is expensive. There are some really good pieces at Goodwill I found on 23rd in that area. And I remember being like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't buy a $90 leather jacket.
No, because it's thrifted.
Yeah. It's still $100.
Yeah, it's insane.
And they will mark it up. They will mark it up
crazy.
at Goodwill too.
So instead now I've been doing every it seems like maybe twice a year, but like Kanice and some other comedians will just like get together and we'll just
the clothing swap.
I like a clothing swap because a lot of the times just wearing something that's not in your realm anymore is the fun part.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You go against your personality a lot of times.
Dress over pants. Dress over pants.
You can do dress over pants.
Yeah.
And it costs nothing.
Yes.
So it's so freeing. You're like, well, I guess I'll take it.
I will. Will you put me on that list?
Absolutely.
I got
me
some
too.
stuff.
I think I am on the list and I haven't gone in like 4 years.
I highly recommend.
And the thing about the clothing swap too is even like you get to drop off your old stuff, you get to find a new thing, and you get to make some friends or see old friends that you haven't seen forever.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's exactly like the type of grassroots community women's activities that we need to be promoting.
It's true.
Do you do no buy? Are you on the no buy app?
I'm not doing any of those apps.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm trying to distance myself from my like phone and doing this as much as possible.
Yeah.
I got no apps. I'm not doing any online shopping. I'm doing nothing.
Okay.
I got the
I'm
no
a monk.
buy app on it was like the Facebook group. They have now graduated to an app, and I was like so thrilled to just use it to distract myself from any type of drama I may be having in my life, self-created of course. But you're like scrolling and it's just like, okay, am I going to go to Inwood to pick up like a pair of boxes, like some moving boxes? And it's like, I'm not even getting stuff that I need. Now I'm just sending myself on an errand to run away from my drama again. But great. I need to take a bus to Stamford, Connecticut to pick up candles. Yeah.
Used candles.
Yeah.
But they look new.
I'm not throwing it into Trash Island.
Yeah. So it is funny in a way of, how that type of activity serves as a distraction. You're like, it's my hobby, but it's like, is it?
And nor is it, you're like, is it helping? It feels like it is, but I think when you really, really think about it, you're like, I don't think it's helping unless I'm the one that's giving away the stuff. Then you're taking things off of my hand. Yeah.
I'm like, I would probably say like in a more driving culture, it's not helping because it's like, oh, I'm driving, however many hours or something
on my diesel.
Oh, my gas guzzler.
Driving in my Hummer truck. Yeah.
For us, it's more time. I feel like
time
you're just
is what
giving
matters,
time,
which is our money.
Yeah.
Yes,
it is our money.
Time is our money.
Because I did a thing for my wedding, as the viewers will know, my wedding is in 1 week.
Oh my God.
Preparing for a wedding dump. But I was doing all of the decor and everything. I was thrifting. So it was like everything thrifted, every dress, every piece thrifted. And I ended up getting all the way to the end that I bought on Amazon one wire basket, which I couldn't find anywhere. And it was cool and I'm glad that I did it. But like looking back, I'm like, that was a crazy situation to put myself in, that I'm just like getting on a train and going, to Ditmars in the middle of the night to meet a woman in a laundromat. And and then I'm carrying like a 25-pound box of like acrylic table numbers. Yeah.
Are you Katie?
Yeah. I'm like, stay back. Stay back, I have mace.
I will pick it up. Drop it off.
Yeah. I've been mowing. So it's been a wild ride, and I don't know if it was really worth it. I do think that I was annoyed because there's so much consumerism with weddings, and it's like we're all just buying the same stuff over and over again. So it's like there was a couple times where it's like I just took a walk to the West Village and picked up the table runners and like met another bride.
That's fun.
And that was fun. But
there should be when we did sketch, there was a community of like, you would share what your props were. And if there would be a group in the Facebook being like, does anybody have a gun? It was always a gun.
Always a gun.
Or a police uniform.
Yeah. Or a dildo.
Yeah. But there would always be someone like, yeah, I have that. You can come and pick it up or I'll bring it to UCB. I kind of wish there was something like that in stuff like wedding culture to be like, does anybody have like table runners or centerpieces, and then you just give them back.
That would be such a more healthy practice than what I feel like is
1000%.
happening now, which is people are like, they buy these ornate gold frames for their wedding, and then they're trying to sell it for like $85.
Yeah,
It's like,
nobody wants that.
do you want to get rid of these or not? Like $5. I'm taking everything I bought for my wedding, including my dress. I'm going to donate everything to like a wedding. I probably will donate the dress to the wedding thing, and I'm just going to write it all off on my taxes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm just going to drop it all off. Or I have seen a little bit on like Reddit. People will be like, I'm giving my wedding dress, just pay for shipping. So I might do something like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because I think like at this point, I'm like, I have to just pare down with like what we're actually doing in terms of like errands, adding another errand, which I love. I love errands.
Yeah, it keeps you from freaking out.
As long as I'm not working, I love working.
Right. It's work that's not work.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
like,
work with no results.
oh my God. Yeah. Send me to UPS. I know. I'm like, I'm actually a really good personal assistant to myself.
yourself.
Yeah, but I won't write a joke. I'll never write. So tell us more though. I want to go back into your intuition journey and like what's your path and what's your intuition telling you, and what kind of things have you done to tap into it a little bit more?
Well, okay, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to, okay. Which question to answer first? I would say my journey has truly been, so writing the show has felt, and like making a choice that was one that people didn't necessarily agree with, felt very freeing. So now I feel more comfortable making even smaller steps to be like, I'm not doing that, or I don't want to do this, what have you. The journey, honestly, like therapy, right? It's so cheesy and hack at this point. Well, but having a really good
being
therapist.
basic is right.
Being basic
know
is
what I
right.
mean?
I love a
Sometimes
CVS.
they get it.
Yeah. I love a CVS.
Yeah.
Catch me in there. Now, did you have like pushback from your family? Are you an only child?
I'm an only child.
You felt like a pressure to continue on the lineage.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And not even just from them, but like from just extended family, just from everybody.
You get a weird...
You sense it.
Because you've been married for a long time as well, right? So I'm naturally like what accompanies that is like, when are you guys having kids? Are you having kids?
Well,
how many kids do you want?
What was interesting is my parents and I, we never really talked about it. So like, because I'd been married at this point, I've been married like 11 years. So you'd think pretty early on, they'd be like, okay, you got married pretty early. Like, are you guys thinking about having kids? And they never brought it up. We never talked about it. And finally, when Bo and I decided, I was like, I think my gut is saying I should tell them in person.
Right.
And so I did. And they were like, this is a terrible mistake.
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that in the show?
You better believe it.
Well, you need a moment of drama. You need an element.
You really do.
You need a gun. Interesting. If the gun, you see it in the first act, it must go off. Now, interesting.
That's hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
How did you work with them on that? Are they accepting now, or they just cut them out of your life?
Oh God. No, I mean, no, I think it's a process, you know?
Yeah,
I think
it's weirdly probably like a death in a weird way to them.
And I feel really sad for them.
Trump making it.
No, but
Natasha,
like,
this is a death for them.
you killed your family.
You're a murderer. That's what you use the gun for.
Go with your gut. Ruin your family. Yeah, I think it's really sad and tough for them. And I feel bad because I'm like, God, I hate that my choice is making you feel this way. But they also are like, if this is what you want, we're not gonna we're not gonna be upset for you, but we are not gonna pretend that we're not upset for ourselves.
Right. Yeah. There's a grieving period.
Yeah.
And do you feel like a grieving period for yourself in terms of like going?
Totally.
Yeah, because I've heard that with a lot of women, and I'm in the same boat as you. I'm 38, no kids, but
That
you know.
cusp area is pretty hard.
It's so tough.
Working through this where it's like you do have to make a decision or
It
you
sucks,
end up
actually.
Yeah.
And I get extreme jealous to men that never deal with the time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, freaking what's his name? Al Pacino.
Yes.
Blowing loads at 88.
You're like, that you're just not.
Hooah. Hooah indeed, sir. But that the time of grieving, even if you're making it from your own decision of not having kids, or even if you're like, well, I waited too long and I didn't even ever decide.
Yeah. And it's also like I'm so jealous of women who have always known one way or the other. Where it was like, I know I want to be a mom, I'm so certain, or like this is not of interest to me at all, and I have never been pulled. Being in the middle sucks because you are like, well, I'm gonna lose something because I see the joy and benefit in both. And I can't have both. So
and
it's tough.
It feels like to me a little bit parallel in the way of I always knew what I wanted for my career. I always wanted to like be a performer and be a talent on the stage as I am. But I would see like, especially in college, you know, friends kind of struggling with their identity of like, what do I go into? And I always felt like, oh, I'm so grateful. I just knew exactly what I wanted to do and just like went straight to it. But it's like I'm very ambivalent as well with children.
Yeah.
And it is like, it sucks to be like, well, you know, I think I've told this story on here before, but when I think I was 35 and me and Mike went on a trip to Miami and I like decided, I was like really stressed out at the time, but I decided on the trip, like I have 1 year to decide if I want to have kids and I will decide in this year. And if I decide yes, then I'm going to go for it. And if I don't, then that's going to be it. And like, I put so much pressure on myself that I ended up having like a breakdown. I'm like crying at a Taco Tuesday, just crying like, and then never even could work through it until later when I was in therapy. And it's like a crazy thing to do, but it's like it does almost come down to that, to be like yes or no, yes or no.
It's truly, that is what happened, where I turned 35 and I was like, I need to decide, and I was like, I'm giving myself a year.
That's what you did.
Funny.
Yeah.
And of course it went way past the year. At the end of that year. It went for way longer than 35. Yeah. I mean, like, but the show is kind of about that year.
Oh,
and
interesting.
being like the kind of this like spiral back and forth I was in.
Well, if you change your mind, you can
It's
always
possible.
egg donor. You
Yeah,
can
do an egg
always-
donor,
and
yeah.
they
Were
feel
you-
just as good as your own?
Were you on the fence ever, or
I was, as you said, like I was never. There are girls that are like, ever since I was a little girl, I knew I was meant to be a mom.
Yeah.
Never. And even those people, when they have kids, they're like, I fucking hate this.
Totally.
And they doesn't mean you're a good mom because of that.
Right.
So that doesn't even decide in any factor of
Yes,
being
that's so
a mom.
true. That's so true.
But so I was like, I could take it or leave it. And Joe didn't want kids. And I was like, I'd rather be in a good relationship that I really like. So that was more important to me than like, because I've seen people, especially women, being like, I really want a kid. They're in that weird time period where they're not even married or have a life partner or even a short-term partner, and they make a really bad decision because they go with the first guy that's like, I want to have kids. It's really hard to meet a guy that actually wants
Right.
that will openly, and then sometimes those guys I find even weird. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well,
We're like, why do you? Because I never meet a guy that really wants to have kids.
Yeah.
So when you do meet a guy that's like, that's all I want. I want to. You're like,
what's going
Red
on?
flag. Mormon. They must be
flag.
Mormon or something.
spreading God seed.
So that always. So, but then Joe changed his mind because he worked whatever through his family shit because it was the main reason why he didn't want to have kids, and he decided. I must have been 42 or 43 at the time, and I was like, it's a little. This is down. There's nothing left. Do you know?
The store is closed. It's last call. It is last call.
It's been last call. For hours.
Because it declines drastically after 40. You do hear, there are people that I've heard that have like their own biological kids after like at 43, but those cases are really
Rare.
far. And it's stressful at that age, even when you do have a biological kid, because you're just told that the health of the kid is so teetering because you're at geriatric. The eggs aren't good then.
So were you right away? We're getting an egg donor, or no? At first you tried.
Well, it's the money. Well, because it's like if we didn't we could probably have found a few decent eggs in there. But it was going to cost probably near hundreds of thousands, and you're not even guaranteed and the percentage of getting a baby from that like was so, it was like a 1% that you're like,
my
it's just
God.
bad business investment.
Yeah.
To spend hundreds of $1,000s with a 1% return rate. That we, with the egg donor, it was something like 60% chance that I was, and it was like 20,000 instead of 100,000 that we were like, that was doable.
Yeah.
And so we were really, and we're really happy with that choice.
It's like your baby's like a car.
He's great. I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
He's mine.
I love
He's
my
very
car.
cute.
He's mine.
Yes. Drive him around.
So you can change your mind.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to change anyone's mind.
And you should. That's why we've had you on. Natasha,
been
look at us.
really
Brought to you by
helpful.
Spring Fertility.
Oh, that would be a good sponsor for us. We're open.
But I would just, there are options for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Options.
So you don't have to be on the wire at 35.
Yeah.
And it's also like liberating. I also feel like it's liberating for women now if they can freeze their eggs. These are, and it sucks. I think it's naive of me to push these out there because these are very expensive alternatives, but it does alleviate any pressure in your head.
You're like, I just have an egg
You're
frozen.
like, I
I'm
have
good.
this.
Yeah.
We're-
Although, I didn't do anything like that.
Me neither.
And I'm going like, if I end up having kids, it will be the natural route because I don't like shots.
Right.
So I remember
It's a
like
lot.
when Sarah was doing her progesterone and I was like, nope, that will not be me.
Yeah, it was like 3 months. Well, it's like almost 6 months of shots.
Injecting yourself in the
every
ass.
day.
Yeah.
Well, getting your body ready for the conceive.
Oh my God.
To conceive and then to trick your body in that this is your baby with the hormones. So that was 3 months, and it's a bigger needle.
Holy.
So, but you do what
do it.
matter.
Yeah.
You will find the energy or mindset to do anything that you want. Really.
Yeah. And now that when you came to the decision, did you feel like a weight off your shoulders of like, oh, this is who I've always been and I feel like I'm here?
You know, and I think because I framed it as like, I'm taking this year or whatever to decide, it was not at all. That's what I had hoped it would be. I would make the decision. It would be just like relief and I could begin this new journey.
Yeah.
But it's way more start and stop.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that's another thing I'm learning too, which is like, even though you make a decision, it doesn't mean you've changed every element of yourself. So it's like,
it would be unnatural or psychotic
Yes.
to just be like, and that was that.
And I never feel anything ever again. Yeah.
Here I am, the new me.
But I do feel there, I definitely feel a little more of like a freedom and kind of like an opening up in my life.
Yes, it takes away the mental real estate.
Yeah. But it's still like, I think, I certainly don't feel like a new person though.
And how about your husband? Like, what was his like?
Well, and he was like a big part of the decision too, because I too was like, well, I'm not, because he was on the fence. And then the more we talked about it, he was like, I actually don't think I want kids.
Right.
And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to force you to have children. I want a partner who really wants children if that's what I'm going to do.
I feel like I've met like multiple men that are like, I didn't really want kids. And it's like,
and they still have them.
Yes,
yeah,
of
you're
course.
like,
Which is
you didn't have to
insane.
have them. They expect you to feel bad somehow. It's like, oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to like what? Breastfeed you now because
Come here.
Oh, it's like I didn't want to buy a car,
You're
but
like,
then I did. Like
that
what?
bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
Continue.
well, no. So for him, it was like, for him, it's been way more of relief.
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, I'm jealous of him in that way, where he's like embraced our life fully, and he in a way that he's like, thank God we never even.
I think it opens up things when you make that decision.
But he's more fearless too. I'm much more like a cautious person.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well,
Well, it's
Yeah.
really hard to
Yeah.
determine whatever is the right decision. But like,
yes. But
I think not having kids is a right decision. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, and
it's
even
just hard.
You
It's just
actually
hard, yeah.
said the best thing that you were like, I think we did a podcast maybe when you were pregnant and you were like, I just feel like a life is amazing. And with kids, it's also great. And I was like, that's the most healthy
Both are good.
mindset to have, which I was like joking at the time that I was like, mine is the opposite, where I'm like, I'm freaking out and I'm going to be freaking out.
Well, I think both sound really great.
Yeah. They're just two wonderful paths.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a good way to look at it, to take the pressure off of yourself of like, oh my God, you know, I'm missing out or I'm missing out.
Yeah. And I think that's been like dovetailed, if that's right, to this like career as well, which is, I think, when I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but
as a
right?
woman, I think, to be a mom in this career.
Oh, yes. Oh, but I was even going to say like the older belief of like, and this thing will change my life forever. Where in the reality, it's like, yeah, all of these like jobs and things will change your life in some way, but every path is going to be good and have negatives as well.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying, where you're like, I got Montreal, like I'm preparing my debut.
Or
and
it's
then like a year later, you're
nothing
like,
happens.
I never heard from them. I never got my TV show.
Yes.
What happened? Yeah, 100%.
I remember doing not the Tonight Show, but Colbert in Corden, and you think that you're like, wow, or you know, like
yes,
here we go, or whatever.
Yeah, and
I felt more satisfaction scoring an Olympico goal in soccer than I did doing a late night appearance. It was enjoyable, but it was also very stressful.
Of course.
And like it was so anticlimactic afterwards, and nothing changes in your back. But I just felt like it just was something that dawned on. I'm glad that I knew about that feeling or went through that, because it changed my mind about my career a little bit.
Yeah.
To just be like, don't worry about that shit.
That's
Just do the creative process
Yeah.
and enjoy it, but don't worry about
I think
because it doesn't make you feel better.
The Mountain Is You, I remember. I think it was, I think that was
nice.
That's a great book. And I think maybe this was the one that was talking about we actually can't know what will make us happy. So it's like you didn't know that scoring the goal would make you happier than like doing this big career thing. And so it's like you're chasing all these things thinking like, okay, if I get that, then I'll be happy. If I get that, then I'll be happy. But it's like you actually can't know what you'll feel like in the future. You have no idea. So it's like it's all kind of a guessing game.
Well, most of it they say, was it contentment is the more important part, and that's really what you get through your friends and family and what you do in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Of just like living in the moment rather than these other external. Sorry.
Well, I wanted to ask, but I feel like you were saying like, but it is much harder as a mom in the industry.
Well,
have you noticed a significant shift for you?
I can't do the road as much. If I go on the road with my husband, it means that we have to pay a lot more to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to be headlining the Vail Comedy Festival.
And he's taking the kid for the weekend.
Oh.
Yep, there's going to be a boys' night. So come and see us.
It depends
in
who
Vail, Colorado.
Vail, Colorado.
Oh, that's gonna be so
Comedy Festival. I'm so
nice.
glad I remembered to promote that.
Push it.
Get the tickets.
But it's whoever is the breadwinner gets the advantage, I feel like, in the parenthood relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Joe does a really good part, but he makes so much more money. So it would be financially irresponsible for to be like, I need to do my podcast all this week.
Joe, I'm taking the podcast full time. Which we should.
I need a nanny.
Well, you guys, I mean, I think you're right. And I think it's like,
it depends. Yeah.
Life is harder for women in general.
Help, but there is no village anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I do think it's harder for women in general to be in any industry. You know, is that
Except modeling.
It is Women's Month. It's
right at the end, so you've got a little bit more time to complain.
Yeah,
so now it's
But it is Women's Month, and this will be airing when it's not Women's Month. So sorry about that. We're out of order with these, but I think, you know, when you have a baby, and I've heard this from a lot of women, especially if you're doing breastfeeding, it's like you're just so tied to the baby, and then like the guy can go out and run and do stuff because it's like you have to be like feeding the baby with your nipple every 2 hours,
right?
Otherwise, your tits feel like they're gonna pop off, and the baby's like screaming, and he can do nothing. So it's it's just necessarily harder, I think.
Well, it's like Rihanna just had a quote recently. She's like, even when you're at the thing doing your thing, your mind's not there because you're thinking about what you have to do later for the
she's
kid.
like, even when you're performing at the Super Bowl, 3 months or 9 months pregnant. Yeah.
Well, it just was like nice. Even someone that makes billions of dollars
Yes.
is like, it's really hard to decompartment, whatever that word is.
Yes.
Yes.
Compartmentalize.
To separate the two, like now it's always with you, so it takes up your mental real estate, which I do think it helps. I'm doing more mom content, but like I'm a momity.
Momity,
which is sad. It's the sadder side of comedy,
where you're like, remember when your dreams grew inside of you and then became another person?
But it's a whole demographic.
Oh, of
It's
course
a demo.
it is.
It's a lower bar of comedy.
And the moms need it.
They need it.
Now, you're saying you're getting into makeup. Tell us about your
I
makeup journey
am.
as we wrap up
Yeah,
here.
as
I love
you can
this.
tell.
How did this happen?
Honestly, looking in the mirror and being like, oh no.
Well, you look great. You look great.
Thank you.
And I don't see a difference from 12 years ago.
Thank you.
No, we all look the same.
We really
Isn't
do.
it crazy?
We're
Yeah,
eternal,
it's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm so glad we sold our soul to the devil.
Yeah. Worth
It
it.
didn't help with the career. But we still look
I said
great.
You get one.
Yeah, you only get one.
Yeah.
Now, tell us what you're wearing now. I'm noticing a light lip.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Truly. Yeah. So I'm fully like just dipping my toes in, but I have like honestly I have asked friends who I have always liked their makeup, so I just like messaged 4 people and I was like, tell me what you do exactly and what are the products. And so my friend Maria Randazzo, she recommended this like eyeliner, eyeshadow, and mascara that I use.
Love it.
And then Glossier has like
love Glossier.
simple stuff for idiots.
It's like it's like if you're really beginning to get into makeup.
Yes.
It's like teenage makeup for grown
Yes,
women.
it's like easy bake oven makeup.
I
It's
love
like
that.
just this one thing,
It's like
and I'm like, I
putting
could
a
do
paintbrush
that.
to the carpet and pretending there's
Yes.
color going on.
Yeah.
Because I can't. Because I've watched a few like people being like, "Oh, and here's my tutorial," and I'm like, "That's 700 steps, and I gotta work my way up." I
It never
can't.
looks the same on your own
Never.
face when you do it. You're like,
No.
the winged eyeliner, I don't know what's
I'm too
going on
scared.
there.
Never been able to master it. Never. I'm like,
me
do I
neither.
have hooded eyes? I mean, like,
I don't know.
Yeah. I never
don't
figured
know,
it out.
Katie.
I can't tell if I have hooded or not. I don't know the difference.
I can't see.
Yeah. I'm putting it inside my eyeball. But you have a perfect clean girl look. Very
Thank
fresh.
you.
And
Thank you.
that's what
Yes.
I'm kind of going for now,
too.
where it was like,
Yeah.
it felt like up until the pandemic, we were all like doing so much contouring and highlighting.
It's like
and
living the Vida Loca
Yes.
with those 2016 eyebrows.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Insanity.
2010s were wild for makeup, where it was like every event was just going out makeup.
Contoured to the brim.
Yes.
To the
Just
brim.
sexy robots out
Yes. And just sharp,
Fembots.
angular,
And bright colors.
all sharp edges.
there. It was so crazy. It'd be like a brown streak here and then a little pop of
Yes.
shimmer,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
looks great in
in a photo.
in a
Yeah.
photo, but
to
in
come
person,
out in real life, you're just like,
Like a bike reflector with your
Yeah.
highlighter. Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah, not worth
Natasha, tell us how can our fans, of which we have many
we do.
beautiful
Our
journeyers.
Patreon's growing again.
It's growing again.
I think the Zooms are really helping.
The Zooms are helping, and we will be doing more stone dedications soon.
That's right.
Tell us where our fans can keep in touch with you and find out about, because I had seen that you taped your album, but I didn't
did.
realize you had not released it yet.
Yeah, and I'm so my like We're All Dads Here, my first album, that's out on YouTube.
Okay,
But this Childless Freak has been taped as of like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
and,
congratulations.
yeah,
So-
but I'm not
so
releasing
recent.
it yet
Yes.
because
You're shopping it around.
I'm shopping around.
Fingers
Shopping it
crossed.
around. Well, and maybe
Oh yeah, Instagram. Just find me on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah,
Find
that's
her
a
on
good place.
Instagram.
At
Keep in
Natasha
touch.
Vaynblat.
Watch the first album.
Yeah, listen and watch exactly.
Please watch our other episodes.
Yeah.
And help us.
Join our Patreon.
And come see us live in Vail, Colorado,
Yes.
May 23rd to the 25th. May 23rd to the
Yes.
25th. Lady Journey.
Lady Journey.